Alright guys, we're back out on the road, and this time we got Fanny in tow again. This weekend we're going scamping up at near the new River Gorge National Park, so here we go. It was a great day for a drive, and we were excited to be back out on the road. Dawn had to work in Fredericksburg that morning, so we left there and cut through the back way through Lake Anna, making our way towards I-64, which would be our main route out to West Virginia. Stopping along the way, we grabbed some Hardee's for lunch, and we were ready to hit the road. At this point, I'm beginning to grow more comfortable with towing a camper. I've never done it before we purchased Fanny, but the more I've done it, my nerves have begun to settle a little bit. ARBS is always tempting, but we have to keep pushing. Between Stanton and Lexington in Virginia, 64 runs alongside 81, and both highways generally run along the same direction, almost parallel to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Alright, less than 100 miles to go, and here we are about to enter West Virginia. There it is, the first sign we've seen for the new River Gorge National Park. We're getting close now. Oh look, and there's an LJS. During this trip, I learned that West Virginia does have some good taste in fast food restaurants. And we have arrived at our destination. The check-in process here at Rifrafter was very smooth and easy. We had made reservations online previously, so we just had to settle up the difference and we were good to go. These gentlemen led us to our site on bikes. We got a little tour of the campground along the way. Now, one downside to our site is that we were just about the farthest section, so we had to take a car to get to the bathhouse or take a little bit of a hike. Alright guys, so we're here and just finished getting set up, and I gotta say that setting up with the Scamp is like so easy and so fast. I think it took us about 20 minutes total, all said and done. I'm gonna turn around and show you here. There's the Jeep, and there she is. There's Fanny. Awnings all out. Chairs are set up, and we're ready to go. We got our rug. This is a campground called Rifrafters. We got a picnic table with a campsite, and back up there is a fire pit. So yeah, it's a pretty good site. You know, we got a few neighbors around us, but you know, it's not like we're packed in here with folks or anything like that. And you know, we have trees, so it feels like a natural setting and not like a parking lot kind of deal. So getting in was easy. The guys at the office, you know, they rode out on bikes and we followed them right to the spot. They helped us help me back in, which thankfully they did, because I would have had a hard time otherwise. On my own, I haven't had to do that yet. We've been lucky with pull-throughs up until now, but yeah, you know, for 40 bucks a night, it's a pretty good deal. Now, we're only a couple miles from the the bridge, the famous bridge that goes over the new River Gorge. It's like the most iconic imagery associated with the park. So, location's great. And honestly, this area is not what I expected at all. I thought it'd be, more remote and not as much stuff, but, half mile from the entrance to the campground, we got a gas station, liquor store, and a Dairy Queen. So, there's definitely much more conveniences closer than I realized. And even half mile up from that, we got a Walmart and an Arbs. So, definitely tons more than I expected. So, like I said, we're getting set up now. I think in a minute we'll probably, at least drive down and take a look at the national park area. It's about 6 o'clock, 5:30 now. So I don't know how much we'll get into, but we'll at least go take a look. So, all right. All right, now that Fanny's been in West Virginia, we get to claim her and add our sticker onto the map here. And this sticker actually features the bridge in the area where we're at. So that's especially cool. So, try to get on there lined up good. Sweet. So it was the evening time by the time we arrived and got settled in our campsite, but we decided to drive down to the Canyon Rim Visitor Center just to get our initial bearings, as that would be our jump off point for the next day's activities. And we're anxious to go see that bridge. So we just drove across the famous bridge and we're at the visitor center now. Unfortunately, it's almost 6 and they closed at 5. So we'll stop back and visit this tomorrow and learn a little bit more about the bridge. Don's just picking up a park brochure now. There is an overlook now. We're gonna go and actually look at the bridge and see what it looks like. When we drove across, we really couldn't get a sense of, how that bridge looks, and it's supposed to be impressive. So we'll see in just a second here. So from the visitor center, there is an easy walking trail that does take you to an overlook where you can see the bridge. It's definitely worthwhile while you're there to see the bridge from up close from the side. It's not a very long or generally difficult walk to get to the scenic view, although there are a number of stairs that you have to be able to climb in order to access it. Leaving the visitor center, we traveled what was called the Fayette Station Road, and we didn't know it at the time, but the road actually goes all the way down to the river level and it gives you a nice view of the bridge, allows you to cross the river and continue up the other side. We'll do the full drive the next day. The new River Gorge is a popular place for climbers, and seeing these formations, it's easy to understand why. Alright, so it's like I thought, you really can't appreciate what the bridge is like when you're driving over it, but once you can see it from the side, you realize just how impressive it is. I guess the thing was completed in 1977, and at the time when it opened, it cut a drive that was 45 minutes to get across the river down to under 1 minute, so it's pretty incredible. And I think tomorrow we'll probably try to get closer down by the river, because I think the views are going to be even more spectacular from below when you can see more of the river as well. So, you know, the visitor center was closed and we couldn't get a brochure, so we don't really know our way around here. We did a little scenic drive that was right next to the visitor center just then, but it's about 7, so we're gonna head back to camp now and have some dinner. Dawn's gonna fix up one of her specialties. All right, so we're back here at the campsite now, and Dawn's getting everything put together. Tonight we're having hobo pockets, which basically you take some foil and you put a variety of ingredients inside of it and wrap it up, and you know, just lay it over some coals and let that cook for about an hour. And then after that time it's ready to go. You can just open up the foil and eat it right out of the you know, the pack that it cooked in. So, you know, it's easy but very delicious, and you know, easy cleanup too. So yeah, I think these coals are just about ready, and Dawn's just about finished wrapping them up, so we'll get them going soon. All right, so here's what I was describing a second ago. It's a hobo pocket ready to wrap up and throw on the fire. Like I said, you can just throw an assortment of whatever you want, meat, veggies. This here tonight, I think we have taco meat. It's like a ground taco meat, seasoned, ready to go, with some onions and various peppers and mushrooms in there. And Dawn, you know, likes to spice things up, so she put her own seasoning on there. So we got 2 ready to go. So in just a second, you know, we'll wrap these up. The coals, as I said, are just about ready, so we'll get it going. All right, so here it is. So I've got the fire off to one side of the ring, and over here we just have mostly coals, and that's what we're gonna try to cook it over. The heat as opposed to the flame as much as possible, but it can cook up the flame, that's fine. As long as you use heavy duty foil, that's key. But once this is ready, you just drop it in there like that. And those are good to go. And we're just gonna rotate them and flip them a couple times over the course of the next 45 minutes to an hour, and they'll be ready to eat. All right, we're about halfway through now. I've rotated them once and flipped them. I'm gonna go about another 5 minutes and rotate them again. Let it cook just a little bit longer, and they'll be ready to eat. Alright, so there's the final product. Once it's done, it's all ready to eat. You just gotta unwrap it and get at it. They come out hot, so be careful. Alright guys, so dinner was delicious, and after that, Dawn and I just sat around the campfire for a little while, relaxing, and drove down to the bathhouse and, you know, washed up, got ourselves clean, and winding down here, about to go to bed in a little bit. You know, the campground, it's a good one. You know, I think it's gonna work out well for us. You know, Dawn found it, and it was a good pick. But for now, I'm just mostly excited about tomorrow and finally hitting up this park in the morning. You know, we'll have breakfast and all that, and then first order of business is to hit the visitor center, figure out what's what, and then we'll start exploring. So, all right, good night. Hey, good morning guys. It's day 2. It's Sunday. It's about 8 o'clock. So I've gotten up and went back to the bathhouse and showered again, even though we did it last night. That's just kind of how I like to start my day, and come back and find out Dawn's already got the coffee ready and breakfast cooking, so that's sweet. The breakfast, I think we're just having basic bacon and eggs, but you know, should be tasty. So we'll eat that in just a minute. So the bathhouse is pretty good. You know, it's very clean. You know, nice stalls for the showers, and you know, everything's in good working condition. So, you know, that's nice and clean, and as advertised, you know, on the website, they made a point of talking about how exceptionally clean their bathrooms were, and you know, they were right. So, only downfall is that, really the only downside so far to the campground in general is that, you know, we're basically the second to last spot from the back, which puts us farthest away from the bathhouse. So it's only a couple minutes to walk, but you know, probably just as well to drive. But you know, other than that, all good. So we're gonna eat here in a minute and then start making some moves. All right guys, so it's a little after 9, and the visitor center up here actually opened at 9, so we're making our way there now. Actually timed that up pretty good. So it's kind of overcast today, but we're lucky because we've been watching the weather since last night, and they've been calling for rain. but this morning that's no longer on the forecast, so that's cool, but still overcast. And tomorrow's supposed to be sunny. That's probably going to factor in our decisions a little bit about what we do which day. But I don't know, when we get up here, we'll see what all there is to do and go from there. Now, New River Gorge became America's national park, newest national park, last December, when its designation changed from a national river to a national park and preserve. And that's sort of very few national parks and preserves, a few in Alaska and Great Sand Dunes in Colorado, they also have that designation. What that means is there are areas where you can hunt and fish, whereas regular national parks, that's not permitted. So, a few noteworthy things about New River Gorge National Park is that there's no entrance fee, which is cool. Also, like the park boundaries are a little less defined than what's common in other parks. I think there's more private residents and businesses within the parks than what you see normally, and it's just harder to distinguish where the park clearly starts and ends. Not that that matters, it's just something that's a little different from other parks. And lastly, so far we've been in the Fayetteville area, but the cell reception here has been great. We've had service, which as far as parks go, that's pretty uncommon. So I don't know, just a few interesting things about this park. I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of all the visitor centers. Given that the park just recently obtained this status, I didn't think that they would be this well done, but they were very nice and very informative, and the gift shops were good as well. Now, Dawn and I were big fans of the National Park Passport program, and we love to collect the stamps, and this trip was no exception. Alright, while Dawn's back there fixing herself a drink, we just stopped by the Canyon Rim Visitor Center, gathered some information, so decided right now we're just going to do some driving. It's a rather large park. I think there are about 3 or 4 visitor centers besides this one, so we're going to try to see and cover as much as we can, get a lay of the land, and go from there. We're going to start now with the drive, scenic drive. It's Fayette Station Road, and it's supposed to take us down to the bottom at river level, so here we go. Crossing this bridge, we were able to get our first look at the bridge from down by the river, and what we saw did not disappoint. Popular activities in this area are whitewater rafting and kayaking. And while we did not do any of that on this trip, we did see some people doing it, and it looked like a lot of fun. Maybe something we do in the future. So that bridge is really cool and very impressive. It's held a number of records. I think maybe currently the highest single arch bridge in the Western Hemisphere. At one time was the longest. I don't know. I'm not a bridge expert or anything like that, so I'm not even sure what all that stuff really means truly. But you don't need to know to realize that's impressive. So we're continuing on with the rest of this Fayette Station Drive here now, and I think after that we're going to head to what's called the Thurman Historic District. did spot a pretty cool waterfall along the drive, but there were some people checking it out, so we decided we'd save that and hit it up on the way back. I can't remember ever driving down a one-lane bridge that had railroad tracks running on the other side, so I think this was a first. Definitely interesting and definitely great views. So Dawn went into the visitor center. There's some restrictions back in place. We gotta wear masks, and there's a 5-person limit. It's a small visitor center, so I'm waiting for someone to come out so I can go in. But talk about the weather a second. Actually, I mentioned before it wasn't supposed to rain. Well, it sprinkled a little bit here and there, so nothing that's gonna stop us. But it's not been entirely dry. But it's kind of cool here. It's only 69 degrees, so when I'm riding around with the windows down, I actually got the heat up. It's like toast in the breeze weather, so wasn't expecting that in August. But all right, hopefully I get in here soon. I do want to point out that I am more sensitive to the cold than most, so while I was ready to turn on the heat, most people would probably consider it to be just about the perfect temperature. Although it is a dead town, the tracks are still active. While it's not a normal train stop, it is what they call a whistle stop for the Amtrak, meaning that you can call in advance and schedule for a pickup or a drop off from the historic district. So that was an interesting stop. We visited Thurman, which is now it's a dead town, but it was at one time a railroad service town is really what it was. And I never knew such a thing existed at all. It was a town built strictly around the railroad and, supporting it. And I guess there's a hotel, so, places for people to stop along the way and stay. But, there's virtually no manufacturing here at all. Everyone that worked here worked in servicing the, the engines or the tracks and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. There's a visitor center, and some exhibits and some old buildings as you saw. Definitely worth checking out. And one cool thing, while we're inside the visitor center, the rain stopped and the clouds are breaking. We got some sun, so that's nice. So about to head up the road to Grandview is our next stop, which is supposed to have, according to the ranger, some of the best views of the river and gorge. So all right, we're about to hit it up. This is the waterfall that I mentioned we drove past earlier, and I'm glad we came back to check it out because it really was a nice, peaceful place to relax for a few minutes. All right, so here we are at Grandview. It's really nice out here. We're supposed to have some really easy walks to some amazing views. So let's go take a look. As is so often the case, the camera does not do it justice. The trails are very nice and I could look at these views all day, but it was getting later in the afternoon, so we had to move on. But when we come back, we will explore more of the Grandview area. Alright, so those views were quite spectacular, to say the least. You know, the New River is supposed to be one of the oldest rivers in the world. You know, I've heard different claims. Some say the second oldest, or I've even read one that's the oldest. But whatever the case, it's definitely ancient. Even older than the mountains themselves, the Appalachians. The river was there before the mountains were formed. So it's unusual in the fact that it flows from south to north. It actually starts up in North Carolina, flows up through. Oh, look, we have some wildlife. I don't know if you can tell. There's a deer out there in the distance. Let's see if I can get a little closer without disturbing him. He sees me now, but doesn't seem to mind. I guess they're pretty used to visitors here. He just looked right at me. Alright, so that was cool. You know, well, not the most exotic of animals. You know, I just love seeing wildlife of all types, especially in the natural settings. So that was sweet. So, back to what I was saying, the New River runs south-north. It starts in North Carolina, flows up through Virginia, and here we are in the West Virginia portion. And, you know, it's really quite awesome. So, alright, we're heading back to the car now. I think we're going to maybe have a quick bite to eat, a little lunch snack kind of thing, and then one more visitor center we're going to try to head up today. At this point, we're driving back down I-64, retracing our steps from the day prior, but heading in the opposite direction, heading to the Sandstone Visitor Center. Alright, so that was the Sandstone Visitor Center we just stopped at, and that sort of serves as like the gateway to the park from the southern end. It's very educational. It's focused on education, specifically about the you know, the watersheds and the ecology. It's pretty cool. Very nice exhibits there. Not much to do in the immediate vicinity. It's not like you could hike to a view, or, you know, no trails at all really. But it is near the river, and he told us there's a couple of scenic overlooks, just, you know, short drive down the road, so we're gonna go take a look at those right now. All right, so we stopped at the first overlook, and we're not even gonna get out of the car. The ranger at the visitor center told us this was the case, but it's confirmed. In the summer months, there's so much foliage you really can't see anything. So we know if we walk down there, we're gonna see nothing but leaves in front of our face. So we're gonna go check out the second one, which is supposed to be much better. Alright, so I blew past this sign on the way in. It crept up on me. I didn't expect it, but so I didn't get a chance to film it on the drive-in. And this was a sort of impromptu decision. Come check this out. We went and saw those overlooks, and they're alright. And Dawn was like, well, why the hell don't we just go ahead and check out the falls? Really, I had no argument. So I was like, alright, let's do it. So there's another 20-25 minutes to drive out here. So let's walk up and see what they look like. Access to the falls is through a simple basic trail with some boardwalk areas. While in this area, we saw a family with some small children actually riding in tubes in the water through some kind of rapid areas, which looked like they were having fun, but probably not the best idea. Okay, so the Sandstone Falls area is really cool. I'd suggest if you have the time, it's worth the drive. If you're at the Sandstone Visitor Center, go ahead and take the hour and go out there and see it. I'm telling you, you can spend about 30 minutes to an hour walking around, and it's nice. It's definitely worth doing. But all right, I think we've seen a lot today, so we're gonna start heading back towards Rifrafters. Start heading back towards our base. All right, guys, so I hadn't really mentioned this yet, but, part of the reason we're here at New River Gorge is because Tuesday is my birthday. And, every year pretty much Dawn and I, except for last year, didn't do nothing but, extenuating circumstances, of course. But it's like an annual tradition. We take a trip, do something for my birthday. And, I didn't know this was coming until last week. She surprised me that she planned this trip for us out here. And it was awesome because we'd been wanting to come out here. We had the time. She found the campground and everything. So it's just been a great weekend so far. I was really surprised and appreciate that. But another gift she got me, what I'm also really pumped about, is this right here. It's an inflatable kayak. This is actually the Intex Challenger K1 kayak, and I've never used it before. I've seen them on other YouTubers' videos, and they look pretty cool. Looks like a lot of fun, but I just busted it out and learned how to set it up. It's actually quite easy now that I know what I'm doing. I think I could be ready to go in 10 minutes max, probably more like 5. But yeah, here's the kayak itself. It's 2 stages to inflate. First you have to inflate the floor, and this is what I messed up at first. I didn't realize that there was a place to fill it up. There's an obvious place right here, so I started there, but this is only the top portion. First, underneath you need to fill up the floor, and then the top. Seat inflates, and from there it's real easy. Now it's a good setup because it includes the carrying case, and all this stuff's going to pack down and fit right in there. Came with the paddle, which again breaks down. It's going to fit in the same bag. Got this pump and this thing here, which I guess is called a skeg. I didn't know the name for it. I wouldn't have known that. It's spelled S-K-E-G. I assume that's skeg, but I would have thought it was called the fin or something like that. But really sweet, really cool, and I'm very excited. So, who knows? We're back in here at the campground tonight. We drove around a lot and saw a lot of stuff, and it was really cool. So we sort of got the lay of the land. Not quite sure what tomorrow has in store for us. But, maybe if weather permitting and it fits into our plans, I might be able to try this thing out tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys, day 2 has come to an end. We have one more full day before we head back on Tuesday. You know, we had a great time today. Really like this park a lot. We saw a lot of cool stuff. You know, looking forward to tomorrow as well. You know, we have some ideas of what we may want to do, but you know, we're really just going with the flow, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, we're all cleaned up. Gonna take it easy, read a little bit, and then hit the sack. Good night. Later.